This is Irontrader, and this is Midday Trading. So I'm going to take a look at some stocks here. But first of all, we're going to take a look here at the US dollar, and then we'll take a look at the euro versus the US dollar, and then the US dollar versus the old yen. Then we'll take a look here at T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, and we'll take a look here at Charter. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy, selling stock market ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. All right, here we have the U.S. dollar. Now, before we get started, CPI number came in, and really the headline numbers, says that, it came in at pretty much flat year over year, which sounds good. But when you start digging into the numbers, you can see where inflation is starting to increase. Okay, I was at the dollar store yesterday, and they raised it here about a year ago or so to $1.25 store, so it wasn't really a dollar store. But now I go to the cashier, and they said, no, that's $1.50 now. And she said by Halloween time, everything in the store will be $1.59 now. So again, you compare to a couple of years ago where things were $1, now you're at $1.50. You're talking about an increase of 50% here. Now that's just at a dollar store. Okay, so the Fed's going to be in a big kind of dilemma now. The market is starting to rally up very hard because they think they're going to get a cut here in September, and there's some of them people are looking for 3-4 cuts. I don't know. I think the Fed is in a very, very sticky situation here because when you really look at the CPI numbers, they're not as good as what they're appearing to be when you look at just the headlines, okay? All right, let's take a look here at the dollar. Now, you can see we got all the way up to that 110, 117. We've been in a downtrend ever since, and we haven't broken this downtrend. We need to actually clear back above this 125 level, and then we can start reversing that and maybe head right up higher. But right now here, we just have this sideways action. So what we're really watching is that 97.94 level. We lose that, we'll come down to the bottom of that candle, 97.49. This is what you're looking for here, that 97.10 level, and then we come down to that 96.37 retest. Now on the upside, again, the charts work on everything, so it doesn't really make any difference. So you got 98.17. There's your 50 SMA. We have this 21-day at 98.39 level, and your 8-day sitting right there at 98.40. Now, if you get above that, you have your target going on up here at that 98.56, your 100-day, and then your retest at 125. You really have to get this dollar back above that level here. Then we can start hitting all this target. See, all we do is just bring this price channel right across. We got 154. Bring that one across. You got 101.25, and then we come up here to the top of that candle, 101.97, and then we'll be looking here for that 200-day at 103.84 low. But now here you can see where we put this low in at 96.37. Now we have a low, a higher low, and a higher low. So actually this part of the chart here is looking actually very, very bullish. But we have to get above all that resistance level, that 100-day, and then get above that key 125 before you can reverse this up. Now, RSI, well, we never really did get all the way to an overbought condition like we had in this scenario. But now we're coming right on off here, sitting at 46. That's not overbought or oversold. And we have a sideways action on your MACD. So right now, we're trading pretty much in the center of these price channels, 97.10 on the bottom, 125 on the top. We got to see which direction this eventually is going to take. Okay, let's take a look here at the euro versus the dollar, and then the US dollar versus the yen. Okay, here we have the euro against the US dollar. And I can see here what a beautiful uptrending chart that we have. We had a little pull down, but now we're right back in action again. Okay, so this is what you're really looking for. Very, very nice. So on the downside, what you're really watching is that 1.16 level. Everything is jammed up right there at that 1.16 level. Your 21-day, your 50-day, and your 8-day. We lose that. You come down here to this 1.5 level, and then we can have the 100, 1.4, and then we have that retest of 1.138 level, which is your basically your retest just below your 100 SMA here. Now, on the upside, what it really needs to do is he needs to get right back above this 1.17 level. Then we can attack that 1.182 level. Now, again, what we have is look at this chart, how really nice it came down. We had that bottom scenario, just the opposite of what that US dollar is doing. And look at the nice rally that we're having all the way on up. So again, as long as we're holding this 50-day and that 100-day, we're looking very, very good. If not, you'll sink right down here towards that 200-day. But right now, this is looking very, very positive on the old chart. Now, again, we really just want to watch this area because you can see here how many times that we're pretty much like right inside of it. So just watch that 1.169 level. Then we can maybe head up to that 1.7 level and maybe that 1.8 and break on out. RSI, you're only sitting at 55. That could go much higher. And the same way with the green, is this is like a sideways action, so we got to see how this is all going to shake out, kind of a situation here. But right now it's a very bullish looking chart. Now here's the old dollar versus the yen. But again, when we look at this chart, you can see where you had the sell off, and now she's starting to rally up. Okay, so here we have a nice series of higher lows. See how we have a low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low situation. Very nice. And then we have some higher highs going on here. So that's very good. So everything's going to be tucked right around this 147.93 level. If that's lost, we come down to the 146. And then we come down to the 100-day at 145. And obviously, we have these retests that we can really do here. You're looking at 144 level. We have 143, and then we come down to that 142. But right now, this is looking very good here to go but higher. Now, you can see how we charged up a little bit this morning at 148.51. But what we're really looking for is two levels. Is that 149.38, okay, and then that 150.91. We crack above that, then we can start heading to all this here on the left-hand side, okay? So right now, that's what you're watching is that 150.91. You need to get back above that. Then we can just start hit that level, okay? You're looking at 151 level. We just bring it right across. We have 152. Come all the way up here. You got 154. And then so on all the way up to 155.87, 156 until we retest that 158.87. But right now, we have a good uptrending chart off of this declining, and we'll also have this double bottom. See how we had that 139.57 level, came all the way and down here, okay, 139.88, made a higher low, okay, very nice, very nice double bottom. So always look to the left of the chart for anything that'll give you an advantage. So we have a nice double bottom, and now it looks like we're rallying right up here nicely. Now, when you look at the RSI, well, you're sitting at 52. That could go either way. The green is below your red, but again, this can just be a sideways action. It really needs to get above that 200-day, and we need to get above that that breakout, that 150.91 on a closing basis. Then we can head much higher. Okay, let's take a look here now at T-Mobile. Okay, here we have T-Mobile. Now, this is a really good company that's really making some really good strides as far as the internet, home internet, and phones and everything else that they're really doing. We're going to be looking ahead of Verizon, AT&T, but I think those are dinosaurs compared to what we have going here. Now, again, we have a really nice, good pattern. We made a low, higher low situation. So bottom left, upper right, we have a nice uptrending chart. The key is going to be right here is going to be this 251.75. Now we have to get and close above it. So we want to watch and see what the reaction is. Does it close above it or does it double top and then come right on down? So again, if we can get above that 251.75 level, then we have some really nice targets right on the left-hand side. Okay, so what we have here is 254.16. And then we want to go to the bottom of this candle. Reason being, that's the gap fill. See, we have a gap. Okay, and then we have this fill going on here at 258.07. And then we'll look to the top of that candle, 263.79, and then with 267 level, we come up top of that candle at 272, and then we can retest that 276.49. But this is a very uptrending chart. Now, RSI looking very nice, and you're sitting at 65. You're not nowhere near overbought. See, we got a little overbought situation there, and then obviously she came down. But right now, this is looking very nice. Now, we have the green over your red, and we're just starting off here from the bottom. So this is looking very bullish. So I'll be watching, is this 251.75, what the reaction is going to be. If we can close above that, that's the key, is you have to close above that. If we do, then we have these nice targets, and I like to get this gap filled. That would be great. Okay, at that 258.07, and we could ride this bad boy all the way on up. Looking very good. Now, when we look on the weekly chart, look how nice and progressive chart this is here on the upside. Okay, this is exactly what you want to see. Now, we came right on down. We lost the 50-day, the 200-day, and then we came down to the 50-day, and now it looks like you're just hanging right out. Wants to recapture. Now, the next level is obviously going to be is that 251.75 right there. Then we can just march this bad boy right on up. Now, on a weekly basis, what we need to really is hold this 21-day. That's that 242. We want to hold that 8-day, 238, and then that 50 SMA. If we can, that would take this bad boy higher if we can crack that 251.75. But right now, we have a nice uptrending here on the weekly chart. And you look here at the RSI, you're only sitting at 55. That's got plenty of room to run. And we're sitting right at the bottom here. We have a nice, good bullish cross. This looks a very healthy kind of situation. But we had this negative divergence. See how we have a high, okay, and we had a lower high. But we had a high and we had a higher high. Okay, see this? negative divergence. Always watch for that. And then look what happened after we got that. Boom, all the way on down. Now, it doesn't always play out, but again, most of the time it does, and that's what you always want to watch. Is anything that'll give you any kind of an edge in trading. So bottom line, if you're trading this, watch this key level at 251.75 and see what the reaction is going to be. Does she blast through and close above that, or does she come right on down? And then we'd be looking for support all the way down here, maybe even that. We have a lot of good support, 243 level, that 8-day, 242, 240 on that 200-day, 238, and then we have that 50-day at 235. But you can see how nice this is curling up. See how that the 8-day now curled all the way up here, heading for that 100-day, 21-day crossed over the 50-day, looking very, very bullish here on this chart. So let's just see how it all shakes out, but just watch that 251. We close above it, then we just go level to level until we hit possible retest of that 276. Okay, let's take a look here now at Verizon. Okay, here we have Verizon, and this is kind of like old school. It had a nice big pop-up kind of a situation. You can see here where I went the wrong way again. Sorry about that. Okay, we had this nice pop-up, and we've been just kind of like a declining ever since. So really, well, what we have to do is you have to get and close above this level, okay, that 43.53. Okay, if you do, then what we can do is we just bring this price channel right across. See, keep it easy, see, 44.03. Bring that price channel across, 44.40. Just keep right on rolling up, 44.55. And then we have 44.89. And we can go all the way up to that 46.19 level. And then we can also have that retest, keep on going all the way to the 47 level. Now, this isn't really what you call my kind of stock. I just think this stock is, I don't know, it just seems dated. I had Verizon for a while. I wasn't really happy with it at all. I don't know. I had this like the Wi-Fi for the tablet. I just wasn't happy. And then when you try to get out of the deal, they're trying to just dick you along and oh, you owe this, you owe this. And I said, man, I don't know you shit. Okay, I want this out of here right now, and that's how it worked out. I'm not really a big fan of Verizon, so T-Mobile, I think, is what they call as the hot stock. But again, if you're in this, just make sure that we close back above that 43.53, not this pop and drop you do. We just take the levels, go right on up. Now, downside, you want to watch that 100-day, 43.16, 42.93 is your 8-day. And then we have the Euro 50-day at 42.71, 42.51, and then we have right there is your 42.29. So you have a lot of good support. Your price is above everything. It's just that what it is, it just doesn't seem like it's a very exciting stock where people say, I'm going to jump into this. Now, we had a big decline all the way from the 61.95 all the way down, and then we just have this sideways kind of an action going on here. It's really like a big nothing burger. I don't really see this here. But again, we want to make sure that you hold that 8-day and that 200-day at that 42 level. Then we can come down to that 40 level and then possibly do even retest at that 37.59. But you can see here, see how, look at this. Every week, this is a weekly chart. Look at it, just declining action. You really have to get back above the top of this candle, that 47.36, in order to reverse that. Okay, so again, if you're trading this, just be very, very careful because it's like watching paint dry. It does not really what you call big time. You're way better off in the T-Mobile. Okay, let's take a look here on another dinosaur, AT&T. Okay, here we have AT&T. Now, this was only trading for me on AT&T because they had such a great dividend. Okay, and that's pretty much that only reason that I liked it. Okay, so in all this time, all the way down here at the beginning of 25, you went from 21, you went to 29. Big deal. Okay, I can do that in a day with Tesla or Nvidia or Amazon or Meta. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, man, it's just like a big nothing. It just seems like this is just like a dinosaur stock. Now, I can see the dividend. Don't get me wrong. I can see all that. But now, okay, so what we have is we have to close it back above that 28.35 level. If we can, then we'll head right to the top of that candle. You're looking at 28.61. We come up to the top of that 29.03, and then we have 29.19. Now you can see where we had that double top situation. Came, sold right on down. Now she's trying to retest that level. RSI, well, you're sitting at 62. That could go that could go higher. The green is over your red. And, you know, I should say that's not, that is very, very positive. Once that green over your red, it's just that this stock doesn't seem like it's really going to, you know, all the way from there. I'll how many times you're all the way down to 23 level, you know, you're 2023 and now you're pushing up 26 and you're only like right there. Now, what we have here is you have a good uptrending situation. So again, you want to hold that 27.83 level, and you want to hold that 27.65. That's going to hold that uptrend. If you don't, you're going to head for that 50-day at 25.17. But remember, there's a gap all the way down here, okay, at 23.35, and then we have that fill at that 22.79. So we have a gap and we have a fill all the way down here before we start hitting that 100-day and the 200 SMA here on a weekly chart. Now, again, this is just like I don't know, it's just like the stock is in slow motion. So if you like trading this AT&T or just in it for the dividend kind of a situation, basically what you want to do is just watch that 29.19. If you can get above that, then she could probably maybe rally to that 35 area. But it's like a turtle, very, very slow kind of a situation. Okay, let's take a look here now at Charter. Okay, here we have Charter. Now, you had a really nice high of 437, and then you can see right here, how we had these earnings, okay? And then, boom, down goes Frazier. And look at this thing, okay? This is just nasty. Now, if you look at the previous earnings, came up and rallied up nicely, rallied up a gap, a gap and go situation, but now look what we left down here, okay? Now, the problem I say is with Charter is they're they offer the internet and the TV and everything. Now, their TV is so crazy because they offer it to you like for $39.95. Okay, I'm going to give you 120 channels for 120, for $39.95. And then you read the fine print. When you get done with the fine print, you're pushing $100 when you got all these fees. Now, see, all the ones who just have the apps and they're not in like Charter or Comcast, they don't have to deal with all the fees and taxes and all this kind of stuff. And they just kept on raising the price. See, I don't see it here with Charter. Not because they're losing customers pretty good. They're doing actually good in their mobile service. That's doing pretty good. But again, I think with T-Mobile, when they're breaking out all this stuff with this 5G right in your house, you can put it around. You can have a whole system for like $50. That's going to take Charter, right to the brink here. I don't really see a whole lot here in Charter. Now, Charter was a very good trade at one time, but right now is very, very tough. Now, we got to a way oversold condition, and you can see that right going on here. Now it's trying to make this move up. Now the key is holding that key 8-day at 261. If you lose that, you got to come down to today's low 259, and you can come down to 254.67. Now again, we have levels that can go all the way down here to this 236 level. Very, very easy if the earnings come in like crap again. So today's high, we had that 265, and then so we just follow these candles up. You got 268 level, you got 271, okay, you have 283, and you just follow the candles up there, 298, and then we come up to the top of there at that 296 level, then we come to that 315, and then we have this big gap. So in case this starts running, this is what we're going to be looking for, is the top of this candle is going to be that 335.52. There's your gap. And then we look to the bottom of that candle at 379. Okay. So watch the top of that again, 335.52. And then we have that gap at 379.08 level. But again, we have a lot of resistance. See where the 50-day been crossing over. You also have the 50-day, the 200-day, 100-day before we even get there. Again, this I don't know. I just think this is like a trade of yesterday kind of a situation. I think T-Mobile out of all this is the one that you want to trade, but we got to see how this all shakes out. So you look at on a weekly chart, it could retest this 236. You could put a double bottom situation, and then we could rally up, but we got to see how it all shakes out. So we had this big downtrending situation going on here, all the way from 800 to some dollars, which is companies nowhere near worth anything close to this. And then we had this sideways action, but now you can see how everything could just waterfall all on over. Okay, so we are to an oversold condition, so a relief rally would not be out of the realm, maybe even up to this 21 days. So if you're trading this, we'd have to see if it gets all the way up to that 21 day, what the reaction is going to be. Does it crack through and go to the gap in the fill, or does it hit it and come right on down? Okay, so again, with Charter, just be very, very careful. We got to see how it all shakes out, because when you have declining numbers like that, the mobile end of it is doing good, but with declining numbers, that's never good for any company. Okay, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here after the open close. We'll take a look at Bitcoin, gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas. We'll take a look at the indexes, which are ripping up nicely. And remember, we had the CPI number today, but you have to really look at that data That was very, very key. Not just look at that headline, say, oh yeah, it's going down. Not really. Okay, so just understand that, because anytime you put on tariffs or any kind, no matter what they try to bullshit you, say, oh, and I was going to do that, it's not an effective right now. But you have to look down the road how that affects the companies. I know, like that dollar store I went to, when I was talking to her, she said, yeah, she about Halloween, everything's going to be $1, at least a minimum of $1.50. And now they have tags on there, oh, this is $5, this is $3, this is that kind of a thing. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute here. She said, because I think what people are doing is prepping themselves here for when the inflation actually hits, and that's going to be a slowdown situation. Okay, so always look at it that nothing affects you today, but maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months down the road, that's where the effect is. And that's where it's going to be the dilemma for the old Fed, about cutting rates. All right, trade what's in front of you, not what you want.